Hi, I'm Dan Perry and this is my Masters of Science dissertation, The Hiding Curriculum Towards the Development of LGBTQ+ Curriculum in Higher Education, Chapter 3, Get a Room, The Deconstruction of Neoliberal Capitalism, Queer Anarchists, Sexual Citizenship, Queer Temporary Autonomous Zones and Higher Education. This presentation video is called Neoliberal Capitalist Hegemonic Monolithic Constructions and Deconstructions Part 1. That was quite a mouthful. To the overview. So you may be asking why I'm wearing my Christmas hat. Well, it's because the first thing we're looking at is called the Christmas effect. Then we look at Say What Now? And then deconstructing the capitalist hegemonic monolithic construction. And without further ado, let's get moving. This video will examine how we as academics and students are actors in the construction of neoliberalist capitalism as a hegemonic monolith. This is achieved through the use of what is described by Gibson Graham, 1999, as a Christmas effect, or a convergence of social constructs. I will then argue that there are cracks within the system of neoliberalist capitalism and normativity. Brown, 2009, argues that there could be alternatives to neoliberalist capitalism. I've raised 3 points from their arguments and critiqued them. Brown, 2009, mentions the concept of an autonomous zone, which I do think is interesting and a possible concept in higher education, which I'll explore in the final section. But I start with the construct of neoliberalist capitalism. Gibson Graham, 1999, reasons that when academics or theorists explain concepts such as neoliberalism, racism, patriarchy, or heteronormativity, they're not only outlining a formation of power they potentially want to see destabilized. Theorists and academics are actually producing social representations of a structure which unintentionally gives power to it by validating it. Brown, 2009, supports this notion. The more we indiscriminately name things like homonormativity and apply it to LGBT mainstream culture, the more expansive the concept grows until it becomes a monolith. Gibson Graham, 1999, refers to this in reference to Sedgwick's 1993 conception of the Christmas effect. The Christmas effect is described by Gibson Graham, 1999, as where everything lines up together to speak with one voice that is unambiguously dominant and hegemonic, creating a monolith, giving it performative force. Say what now? I am and have been creating and validating monoliths of performative power as I write this paper or present it as I am doing now. As academics, it is expected of us to demonstrate our understanding of certain concepts and words that result in a Christmas effect, as we research and use what other academics have said to validate our arguments. This creates a hegemonic understanding of concepts or words that we use and empowers them as monoliths. This will, in turn, affect both academics' and students' perception of the chance of change, including political interventions and political change. Gibson-Graham believes that in the face of a large monolith such as heteronormativity or capitalism, for example, there becomes a feeling of hopelessness to make positive change. However, Gibson-Graham asks what if we were to challenge monolithic hegemony, in particular capitalist hegemony, by queering it? To queer neoliberal capitalist hegemony, it would require breaking apart some of its key characteristics that overlap and combine, which make the Christmas effect monolith what it has become. Using post-structuralist ideas, Gibson-Graham advances the idea of discursive destabilization to begin to queer hegemonic neoliberalist capitalism. Gibson-Graham identifies the first step of destabilizing the neoliberalist capitalism monolith is identifying economics as being naturally dominant and essential to the neoliberalist capitalist structure. By doing this, Gibson-Graham believes that space is opened for different versions of economic ideas that are possible. Further, Gibson-Graham argues that it would be more productive to think of neoliberal capitalism not as a social structure, but as a dominant discourse. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again for the second part of Neoliberal, Capitalist, Hegemonic, Monolith Construction and Deconstructions.